effort. Two things basically stood out to me. The first is how Boise State handled Georgia. This is coming after a year where they lost 2 NFL wide receivers. They still have Kellen Moore, who is an absolutely wonderful quarterback. Unproven wide receivers, and they still just manhandled an SEC-ranked Georgia Bulldogs, and that stuck out to me.
And it wasn't on the blue turf even.
No, it wasn't. It was in Atlanta, basically a home game for Georgia. Took it to them. That's no doubt. The other thing that stuck out, Auburn. Last year's national champion, struggling immensely against Utah State. I know that basically everyone watching this right now was rooting for Utah State.
Go Utah State!
Yes.
Oh,
and
it's a heartbreaker.
Just came up short. So that kind of surprised. I think the preseason publications got it correct. Had them just inside the top 25, but not much more. I don't even know if they're a top 25 team.
I'm going to say no, and that might be biased, but I'm going to say no. They look terrible until the onside kick. That looked pretty good.
Well, at least they had to do something right just to get out with the victory, and they did just enough. What was your biggest surprise?
I would say the weather. I wasn't counting on it. I think it really played a factor in a lot of games. Now, granted, we had kind of talked a little bit about South Florida, Notre Dame a little bit off air last week, and who knew what was going to happen with that. But you had to have at least 3 games delayed. One game ended up being essentially just interrupted and stopped and called
Lightning
baseball style. Yeah, and to have that happen, I wasn't really looking into. It's not like I came in a week thinking, oh, let's see how many games get postponed or stopped, and boom. But hey, I thought Notre Dame, that was a surprise. I think just the weather in general, the way it came up and, affected especially the Iowa game, a lot of the other games. Big Ten showed well in some cases. Other cases, Indiana losing, Purdue having to win in the last minute of the game. But then you got Minnesota nearly took down USC. So it's going to be an interesting week. It looks like it's going to be an interesting season for us.
Big 12 wasn't any different. Kansas State squeaked past Eastern Kentucky. There was, I think the 2 leagues were pretty similar. So it was a good showing for both. But at the same time, some of the lower tier teams perhaps didn't show as well as what we were hoping they would. But so we're on to week 2. Big game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be huge. I'm forgetting again who's playing the big game.
I think it's.
Do they have a trophy for it?
Yeah, I think he has like a Precious Moments.
That's awesome. Yeah. Maybe we can get some Hallmark little ornaments and.
Yeah, no, I heard they might change that, so we'll see what they end up. Either Iowa or Iowa State's going to run over and grab something. Hopefully it's not Children of the Corn, but we'll see what happens.
Hey, but if you have ideas on it, send them in. We'll be happy to post what you think.
For sure. If we find out there's a good idea, we're going to post it here and let everyone know what we thought was a good idea from the viewers, all 4 of you. Anywho,
that's you, Mom and Dad.
Yes,
and Mom and Dad.
Yes, I might have. I guess I view it too. So
we're up to 6.
Yeah, good.
If we can get our spouses in, that'll be even better.
Yes. So, I guess, what are your thoughts on this week's game?
Well, it's huge, and for anyone, even on the Iowa side, to say this isn't a bowl game for Iowa, this isn't a game that they mark in their calendar. I mark it on the calendar. And granted, I'm not playing for Iowa, but you want to beat Iowa State. I mean, let's just go back in recent history, and let's go back to 2002. Maybe if Iowa doesn't lose that game, maybe they don't come back and beat Purdue. Maybe they don't figure out how to beat Penn State the following week. But maybe they beat Iowa State and then they just rolled past everybody else. And you'll always wonder what if. And hey, just win the game. What's better, 2-0 or 1-1? Well, in my case, it's 2-0, And if it's Iowa State or, on Iowa State side, if it's beating Iowa, why wouldn't you have this circled? It's a huge game.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely take 2-0, and I think it's just as big for us. If not, well, I would say it's just as big as us, big for us. The reason that I find it really important is we had what many fans thought a subpar performance against UNI. To come back and beat Iowa would just be we go from up here to down here, we'd be back up here again.
Absolutely.
And we feel like we had a chance to really do some damage this season. Of course, I had it predicted that we would. You had it predicted that Iowa would. So how about we give our scores?
Sure. Yeah, because, and just to touch on what you said, too, I don't care what we predict each team to be or what everyone thinks, if some teams will get 9 wins a year or 5 wins a year. It's always a race to 6. And if you can get your early wins, you're before the conference schedule, get to 6 and then keep on trucking. And, I'm going to go with, I know this comes as no surprise, we're going to go Iowa 27-17. Big day out of, I'm going to go with old number 6, Keenan Davis. I think he's going to have a couple touchdowns. I think McNutt's going to get double covered all day. And I'm going to say Vandenberg finds Keenan Davis 27-17.
It's a good pick. Once again, in my preview, I had us winning. With the potential injury and the struggles on the lines right now, don't shoot me. Iowa 28-14. Did you notice we got a budget?
Yeah, I hope that's recording. This is great. We got colors. We got
it's great. So here's our budget. Maybe sometime we'll have like a little bar across the bottom of the screen that flashes our picks. Probably not, but Iowa 28-14. I believe that we will play well, which a 14-point spread shows us that we are playing well. It may be where it's 21-14. We're going into the fourth quarter.
That's how I see it.
And Iowa gets that score to just kind of put it out of reach.
And maybe it's a Castillo pick 6 at the end.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things, but I think
closer than 14.
I think it's maybe a 7-point game, and then the final score reflects a late touchdown by Iowa.
I would agree with that.
All right.
I kind of had that thinking with the 10 is that it was a late field goal to put it out of reach.
Okay. Yeah, so pretty similar here. It's not what I want to pick. It's not what I had picked. But anyone watching this has got to give it to me. It's a little scary right now. Yeah. And again, not taking anything away from the Panthers.
Hey, no, and you know what? A few years ago was it 05 and it was 23-3.
Yeah.
We probably both would have picked Iowa in that game, and we'd be back here the next week on
Yeah. So, on a little side note, I am gonna talk about this. The scoreboard looked phenomenal. Chuck, it was gorgeous. I mean, to look at something, about 150 yards away and see it in perfect HD clarity, it was gorgeous. Well done, Jamie Pollard and the athletic department for getting that in there. I'm sure many Cyclone fans feel the same way. Great addition to the stadium.
Excellent.
So, and Iowa fans will have the ability to see it this coming week. So
can't wait.
Yes, all right. So we're gonna kind of head away from college right now. No.
Not so fast, my friend.
Well,
to copy the coach.
Doggone it! You know what's going on here is you caught me. I was trying to get out of saying that I'm down in the picks right now, but no, of course not.
So last week, Steve 2-1. Good job. Hey, I'll take 2-1 every day.
That's true.
But we did go head to head on LSU, Oregon. So I'm 3-0, but we only have 2 picks this week because Iowa and Iowa State are playing each other. So we're gonna pick a new game. What game do you think stands out for game of the week this week? There's a few good ones out there.
Yeah, kind of like last week. We did the LSU Oregon, and we could have done Boise State Georgia. But I believe we have like Michigan,
Michigan Notre Dame.
That's always a rivalry. I think we're gonna go a little bit away from us, a little bit out there. Maybe some people aren't even going to care about this game, but I like the USC Utah matchup coming up.
USC Utah, all right, I like it.
It's Utah's first Pac-12 conference game. Last year we saw what they did to us. So, it's a good Utah team.
But no Shaky Smithson this year.
This is true. Good Utah team going up, a perennial powerhouse in USC, at USC. So I think it could be a good game. It sound like a good pick to you?
Yeah, I think let's go for it.
All right, sounds good. My pick, Utah, USC. USC 23-17. 23-17 USC. I think that it's going to be more of a defensive struggle than an offensive struggle. Once again, I could be completely wrong. And which brings us on to Chuck.
Which, hey, I am going totally opposite theory. I'm going Utah 47, USC 44. Classic Coliseum shootout. Should be interesting to see. Yeah, hey, I hate going against Matt Barkley there, especially at the end, because that guy can pull stuff out like he did against Ohio State. But I'm gonna go Utah. It's a national game. I think it's on Versus.
Yes.
I mean, that'll have 450 people watching it. So, I'll try to tune in myself.
More than what we got.
Yeah, we're at like 420.
So those are our picks of the week. So hopefully I win.
Hey,
because we need to tie it up here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't want to blow out here.
It's good for the ratings. It's coming up on sweeps week here.
Yeah, we need a tie. So let's go USC. Okay, now we'll switch directions.
Yeah,
let's do. Let's finish up week 1 or week 2 here. Excuse me, week 2 with a little NFL talk. Anything stick out coming into week 1 of the NFL?
Wow. Well, Thursday night game, Packers, Saints. I kind of like that they made this change. A few years ago, you get that game in there, get everything excited. And then you have the lull Friday and Saturday. Yeah. But thank goodness we got some good high school matchups on Friday. Saturday we got the big game here for us. And then Sunday, hey, back to more football, doubleheader on Monday, NFL. It's like a 5-day smorgasbord. Just give me more of that football. I'm all set.
Very good. Now, I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm not near of a big NFL fan as I am a college fan. But I have a lot of friends who are not into college but are all about the NFL. So it works one way or the other. I'm just hoping that we have another good overall season. Glad the lockout didn't take it away from us. But what we're going to do now is just a quick fantasy pick. Who Chuck thinks is going to be a good fantasy starter for those who have that player or whatever on the team.
Yeah.
And I'll give you mine. So Chuck, let's see who you think is going to.
Well, I was going to pick Tony Moeaki, but dumb Todd Haley decided to keep him in and play his starters way too long in the last preseason game. So I'm not going to pick him. And
that hurts me. He's on my fantasy team.
Oh, so maybe I'm going to pick Matt Castle. Oh, wait, I think he broke his ribs in that same game. So, no, I'm actually going to go Matt Schaub, Houston Texans. Hopefully you have him.
I do have him on my team.
Awesome.
So,
well, that's good. All this talk is on Peyton Manning. Matt Schaub, I think he's just ready to come out. Last year in the game 1, Houston ran it up. They really showed. I think this year they're ready to take that next step. Their defense is much better. I'm looking for a big game out of Houston, big game out of Matt Schaub.
Very nice, very nice. Mine, I'm going to go away from a player. I'm going to go with the team, and I'm going to say the 49ers defense.
Oh.
I think that they're going to have a really good game against an unproven offense and an unproven quarterback so far throughout his career in Tavarius Jackson. They're going up against the Seattle Seahawks. I just think that it's a bad matchup for Seattle right off the bat. 49ers have always had a pretty decent defense, and I think...
they still got Ronnie Lott. Dwayne Board, Keena Turner...
Yeah, so it is going to be a big game for the 49ers defense. So if you have the 49ers defense, probably would put them in there against that offense, which is really suspect.
Looked horrible.
So that's our fantasy picks of the week. That about does it here.
Week 2 in the books.
2 in the books. No one choked, no one died, no kids screaming. Thanks to my lovely wife. But thanks for joining us. As always, www.caffeinatedthoughts.com, Twitter,
CyHawkThoughts, or at CyHawkThoughts on Twitter. Check us out, please. Respond if you see us on the streets. Just come up, shake our hands.